Hey everyone, just want to do my Tuesday Q&A. I do these every Tuesday. The way it works, post your questions in the comment section below, and then I will answer them in the next one. It is the 4th of July here in the United States, so happy Independence Day to anybody who celebrates this holiday here. Let's get started, guys. We have a lot of great questions to go over. By the way, there is a frequently asked questions section on my website. There's a link in the description below. I'm not going to answer anything in the videos that are already answered on that section of the website. First one from Cullen, buying my first van. Right on. Is there an ideal mileage on a commercial van? Passenger cars seem unreliable after about 150,000 miles, but commercial vans still seem pretty expensive after 150. Are they more reliable than passenger vehicles? That really depends. It's hard to say. It really depends on the specific type of passenger vehicle versus commercial van that you're looking at. I know that you'll see those high mileages a lot of the time on diesel engines, so like Sprinter vans with diesels for the most part, and those will tend to hold their value pretty well and be still pretty expensive, because I think diesels are supposed to theoretically, at least in theory, run 400,000 miles, 400,000 miles pretty easily without any issues. So, or at least, with less issues than a gas engine would be able to do that. So that might be what you're seeing in terms of pretty expensive vehicles still at 150. But then, yeah, if you look at older cargo vans with that many miles on them, I would assume that it's going to be less reliable, but like I said, it depends on the engine. 6-cylinder engine versus 8-cylinder versus 10. But it really just depends on the size of the engine, the type of the engine, and that kind of thing. Do your research, figure out the specifics of each individual make and model. Try to figure out the best model years, particularly like the way that I look at it is if it's like a later generation or a later model year within the same generation, it's better than going with like the first model year in that generation. Just look into as much detail as you can, and that hopefully will help you out. Swamp Yankee, will you ever get a Walmart haircut again, in regards to the Walmart parking lot haircut that I did the other day? I mean, it's possible. The Walmart parking lot was really quiet, and it was just a big open space, and it was a pretty easy place to cut my hair, so maybe. But I think I'd be better off just going to a park and finding a quiet corner in a park somewhere, a public park, and it'd be a little bit easier. Chris Allen Arnett, looks like you have a ton of questions about the girlfriend. Well, let me not disappoint and ask you one, since I have been dating coach online. How did you guys meet? We met in New Orleans. We both actually went to the same college, so that's how we met there. And then yeah, looks like that's the question there. All right, next one, JDM44456. Will you consider coming and traveling around Australia? If so, you're welcome to bunk at my place and try out my barbecue. Right on. Yeah, at some point I'd like to come down to Australia. I don't think it's going to happen at any point in the near future, but at some point it would be really awesome to spend some time there and explore. Caleb, how much space is there when the seats are removed? So when everything is empty in here and it's just the front seats and then the back seats are gone, there's a lot of space in here. Actually, it's a really good size, and that's a big reason why I decided to go with the Element. Even before I was 100% set on living in here full time, I just knew that it was going to be great for being able to move stuff, and like I help friends move and stuff like that. I was able to get like full dressers in here and like small mattresses and like all kind of crazy stuff in here without any problems. So there's a lot of space in here. Adam Tung says, awesome video, Nate. Thank you. Anyways, what do you do to help through difficult times? I'm going through some stuff at the moment. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get down, definitely. For me, I find that it happens like if I'm really worried about like financial stuff and being able to kind of make ends meet every once in a while. That definitely happens occasionally. And I just try to stay as positive as I can and do the best that I can. And sometimes I'm really not very good at it. I get kind of down on myself and get kind of negative for a couple of days. I think it happens to everybody. It just kind of is part of life, I guess, to an extent. But I don't know, I just try to stay as positive as I can. I do try to think about solutions to problems, though. I'm not the kind of person that just like stops thinking about something if something's bothering me. I kind of dwell on it and kind of really try to figure out a solution to it as best I can. And I don't know, in doing that, I think that just staying as positive as I can and also talking to like friends and talking to other people and getting their take on it tends to help me out a lot as well. Hopefully, you get through what you're going through, man. I definitely understand. Jason Wonder has a couple of questions here. What does your girlfriend's family think of what you are doing? I have absolutely no idea. We've never really talked about that. I don't even know if they necessarily know about what I'm doing here, and I would assume that at some point in the future, that's that's going to be a bridge that we're going to have to cross, and you know, when we get there, we'll see how it goes, but I really don't know as of right now. And 2, what is your biggest aggravating task with this lifestyle? I know I've mentioned this before, but I really think it is setting up the bed and breaking down in the bed in the mornings. It's really not that hard to do. It only takes me like a minute to do, but if I'm in stealth mode and I'm trying to stay quiet at night and I'm going to set up the bed, like, I don't want to be like moving the van around when there's people walking by outside. Like, any movement that I make in here is very noticeable, so it's kind of annoying. I would much rather just be able to just climb right into bed and climb out. Same thing in the morning, like, I have to listen to make sure there's not like people taking out their trash or walking their dog and stuff like that. It gets to be kind of annoying. Utah Tenkara, question for your July 4th Q&A. What college degree did you earn from Tulane? I got a double major in international relations and Spanish language. How much student loan debt do you currently have? And please share any opinions you have on whether or not you think a college education was worth the cost, and do student loans have anything to do with you moving into the element? I really enjoy the videos. Thank you. So yeah, those are really good questions, especially the second part there. In terms of how much student loan debt I have, it's a lot. I've got another at least 4 years of the payments that I'm making now before I have everything paid off, and I've been working at it for the last almost 5 years now, paying them off for actually I think it is. It's exactly 5 years. In June of 2012 was when I started, so it's been exactly 5 years. But yeah, was it worth it? I think that going to Tulane was one of the more expensive options that I had, and I was going to have to take the most debt for it. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I don't think that any 18-year-old student is really thinking about that, when they're making these decisions. Maybe more so now because they're seeing what it's doing to a lot of the people that are a little bit older than them. But I wasn't really thinking of the consequences. I just kind of did what I thought was right and what everyone kind of said to do, and that's just kind of how it was. Now, that being said, I wouldn't take back going to Tulane at all. Having gone there, I was exposed to so many different types of people, and I learned a lot, and it was a really great experience. So going to New Orleans and being part of New Orleans for that time, it's something that I really enjoyed. So I don't think I would change anything, but is it worth it? I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Definitely part of why I live in the element like this is so that I can try to pay off those loans a little bit easier, and over time, hopefully I can pay them off a little bit sooner than that 4-year, that 4-year number that I have left moving down in the future. But we'll see how it goes. Short Bus Hippies. Hi Nate, my wife and I love your channel, and you're a big part of us getting back into the nomad lifestyle. Right on. Thank you. And then so yeah, it looks like you asked about some of the tags that I use when I tag my videos. I'm not really like an expert or anything like that on the tags. I mean, I do try to tag things that I think people are searching for. So like van life is like really trending, even like hashtag van life, things like that, like living in a van, how to live in a van, how to live in a car, how to live on the road, boondocking, stealth camping, basically the things that I'm talking about in most of my videos. Travel, full-time travel, making money on the road, things like that. Those are the things that people are looking to learn about, and they're searching for, at least I think. So those are the things that I'm trying to tag. It really does vary. Feel free to like shoot me an email. I'm happy to try to help you out if you guys have any questions or anything like that with getting the channel started. Andrew Chung, have you ever had any bad days where you were just tired of breaking down the bed and readjusting the seats? Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. Like it doesn't like get to the point where I'm like not gonna do it. Like obviously, like I in order to move the element, I have to break down the bed. So it does kind of delay me a little bit in the mornings. I know I just kind of talked about this, but like, like I'll be laying here and I'm just like, it kind of slows me down. If I could just hop out and turn on the car and drive away, it would be a lot easier than having to break it down. But it's part of the routine. I definitely get used to it. It doesn't really get to the point where I just like won't do it anymore. And just, I don't know, like I wouldn't be able to do it anyways. Also, when your girlfriend was in town or any other situations, did you ever contemplate maybe a night in like a motel or an Airbnb room? Yeah, when before she actually got out here, we were considering maybe spending a night or two in an Airbnb. We thought it was going to be too difficult to spend the night in the element, but it ended up actually being really easy, and we didn't have any problems at all. And as the week was going on, we were like, oh, we should get an Airbnb, but then we realized like we didn't really need to. Like, there's plenty of quiet places for us to park, and it worked out really well where the bed was actually the right size. It was comfortable enough. I mean, yeah, it was pretty cozy, but it worked out really well. So we decided not to do it. Really, there hasn't been any other times that I've thought about it, though, like outside of that, just because I would rather just sleep in my own bed, I guess. Matt Dixon, hey Nate, I love you. Thanks. Do you think it would be possible to work full-time while vanning? Yeah, definitely. When I was in New Orleans, I had like a full-time job, like an office job for a couple of months while I was there back towards the end of 2016. And it worked out pretty well. You know, I mean, I used my closet to keep my like nice dress shirts hung up, and I could just wear them every day. And yeah, it worked out pretty well overall. It's definitely possible. I mean, it's a little bit more of a hassle, obviously, and I don't really have that many clothes, so I was kind of like wearing the same shirt, you know, like twice say in the same week, like on a Monday and then on a Friday sometimes. But like, no one really cared. No one seemed to say anything, so it worked out. It was fine. All about this. Will you be coming to Northern California at some point? Again, probably not again this year, though. Probably maybe next year. I'd like to go back up and drive up the coast and check out San Francisco and that area and spend some more time in Northern California. It is beautiful up there. Mr. Minimalist, but without any vowels. Hey Nate, what's up? As a fellow Element owner and minimalist, I found your channel and really enjoy it. Thank you. I've been watching your vids for a while. Do you know if you get any cut from the YouTube Red subscriptions? Hope you're having a good summer. Yeah, in terms of YouTube Red, it's a very, very minimal cut. There's not really that, I don't think there's that many people using it as of right now. So, but yeah, there's a little bit that comes in on like the AdSense when I check it, you know, every so often. But it's very minimal. Griffin 1209. Hey Nate, I love your channel. What are some of the 3 things you don't like about van life? How did Antine, spelling, you were close, just one N instead of 2, feel about her week in the van? And did living in the van change her perspective on the minimalist lifestyle? So in terms of the second part of the question there, I think that she was pretty okay with being in the Element. I don't know if she wants to like live in here full time or anything like that. I think that would be a little bit too difficult. But for the 1 week while she was here, it really worked out really well. It was actually really easy. And then, did it change your perspective on the minimalist lifestyle? I mean, we had talked a lot about minimalism and like the importance that it has to me before coming into this, so I don't know if it really changed anything, but it definitely, you know, gave her the experience of living in here for a week, and I'm sure that was helpful in some way. And then, what are the 3 things that you don't like about van life? That's tough to say. You know, I think the hardest things for me are like getting sick. Having like a migraine headache, trying to go to sleep at night is really a pain. That's happened a couple of times. Feeling like nauseous. Fortunately, I've never had to like throw up or anything like that in the van, but you know, feeling nauseous and stuff like that is really uncomfortable. So that's probably the worst thing. And then breaking down the bed, I know I just mentioned that. That's kind of a hassle. That definitely is something that I don't really enjoy. I don't know about a third thing. What would be a third thing? I don't know. I think those 2 are probably the more difficult things. The third thing, I guess, is the fact that it takes a lot longer to do things. Like cooking is a lot more of a hassle. You know, I can't just like go to the kitchen and just like cook up food. I have to like drive to a park and set up the stuff and, you know, get it all set up, and then cleaning it up in the sink is pretty difficult. It makes it more difficult. So I don't know. I guess just kind of like knowing that my daily routine is going to take a little bit longer than the average person, pretty much with everything that I do. But that doesn't really bother me. That's just kind of comes with the van life to an extent, and something that I've accepted. Rock Savage, what is the oldest age of a surfing student that you've had? That's actually a really good question. Pretty old. I want to say I've had folks in like their late 60s, early 70s do surf lessons before. And I remember, you know, once I had this French Canadian guy who was definitely late 60s, early 70s, and he did really well out there, and he was in pretty good shape, and you know, he was really excited to get out and go for it, and we had a great time. But there have definitely been a few like late 60s, early 70s for sure. John Peacock, hey man, Pensacola is my hometown, and I know you visited in the past. Any plans to come back again? It'd be cool to meet up. Yeah, for sure. I will definitely be back to Pensacola. I kind of consider Pensacola a little bit my hometown as well. Not 100%, but there's definitely like a hometown feeling whenever I go back to Gulf Breeze and I'm spending time there. I've spent so much time there over the last so many years living in New Orleans. I would drive over there all the time to try to surf. So it's definitely like a second or a third home. I don't know. Whatever it is, I really enjoy being there. So I'll definitely be back again. GoPro Prius Cowboy, would you consider washing your clothes by hand? I could see somebody hand washing, then going to a place, and yeah, so it looks like the question is, would I consider washing by hand? I think at some point, yes, I will consider washing my clothes by hand, definitely. Not here. I don't really have like a bucket that I could wash in. They make those like cool like hand spinning washers. Those things are awesome, and I probably will get one if I ever move into like a bigger RV or like a tiny house or something like that. That's definitely what I'll get in order to wash my clothes. But for now, I just don't have the space to store even like a bucket or something like that I could wash in, and it would kind of just be a pain. So I'll stick to going to the laundromat. It's less than 10 bucks a month. I mean, it's really not that bad, and it works out. It looks like you had another question here as well about domicile in South Dakota, and basically just keeping in mind that, you know, if you have like a health emergency, that I'd have to go back to South Dakota for healthcare. But that's actually not true, because my healthcare plan is not, it's not on the exchange. It's different. I've talked about it in a few videos if you go back and check them out, like particularly the expenses one and like how much does van life cost video. But it's a health cost sharing organization, so it's pretty much accepted in every state. It's basically like I don't have insurance, and then I can submit the bill to the cost sharing, and then hopefully get reimbursed and that kind of thing. So that whole having to be in a certain location doesn't really apply. And if I am going back to the sugar beet harvest in North Dakota every year, it actually wouldn't be that far out of the way to stop by South Dakota if I need to or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. But I'm not really set yet. Texas is still on the radar, and so is Florida. I'm not really 100% sure on that. And the last question this week from Vera W. With which camera did you shoot the stars by that night shot? That was with my main camera, my Canon EOS M. I have a 22mm pancake lens on there that has a 2.0 aperture. It opens up really wide, so I was able to kind of open it up and set the exposure really high to get that image. And that was really my first shot at it. I know that I can probably do better with some of those images, but I'll have to get back out there into a place where there's no light pollution again and try it out again. And where do you get music for your vlogs from? So mostly like YouTube Audio Library, and then I've been using a lot of Joakim Karud's stuff. He's a Swedish musician from SoundCloud, and he allows folks to use his music in a lot of videos and stuff like that, as long as you put a link in the description. So if you check out some of those videos, there's usually a link in the description. If there is, it's going to be to his channel, and definitely check out some of his music. He's got a lot of incredible stuff. A lot of folks have used it before. A lot of vloggers out there use his music, and I really do enjoy it. So that sums it up for all the questions this week, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.